Good morning, everybody. This is Benita Hutchison back with my podcast on goals. And you haven't seen me in a few weeks because we've been really busy packing up our place and getting ready for our big move to Nanaimo. Very excited about doing that. We spent this past weekend in Victoria at a psychic fair. I got to meet a lot of wonderful people, both other psychics and other people in my field, as well as a lot of wonderful new clients. So it's just gotten us even more excited about making this move. We stayed at the Union Club. We went to the Empress Hotel for a beautiful dinner. There's so much beauty and history in Victoria. And I'm just loving the fact that we're going to have it just a few hours away from where we live. And both my husband Tillman and I are just seeing so many opportunities there. Not only for work, but for play. We love theater, we love culture, we love good food, we love meeting new people, so there's just so much richness in this experience moving forward, which is what I want to talk about today, looking at your big goals. Sometimes we play life too small. We think of our next step as something that's very easy to see in front of us. We know we can do it. We play it safe. Big goals take us way outside of our comfort zone. And sometimes what stops us is when we go, well, I couldn't do that. I can't see myself there. We let our fear override our curiosity and our passion for trying something new. So when that fear or resistance comes up, take that as a sign that that's just the ego freaking out because you're going to do something new and it could change you. And that's the whole reason to go for a big goal, so you keep growing. I expect to be, in a lot of ways, a different person by moving to the island. It's a slower pace. It's a calmer environment. I was quite shocked actually when we spent a couple of weeks there over the holidays at Christmas, and it was so dark at night where we were staying. There weren't a lot of street lights. It was very quiet. In fact, all we could really hear at night was the ocean lapping up against the rocks because we were staying right at the ocean's edge. It was totally different from being in an environment where there's street lights on all night and there's sirens and traffic, and there's a lot of fun and excitement in living in Kelowna. I've certainly loved our time here. I moved here in 2011, and I remember when I first got here and I looked around and I said, oh, this is so beautiful, and people would say, shh, don't tell anyone. And it really is a place people have flocked to and continue to flock to, and the city is really growing. So there's a lot to be recommended for Kelowna, and we've had a wonderful time here. But it really is time for us to move on because our intuition says so. We saw, a house that we actually drove by when we were exploring the island, and then I found it online, and I said, that's our house. And everything's moving that direction, and we've had a wonderful real estate agent who's been just going above and beyond to help us get ourselves sorted. So once we're in the house, I'll be saying more about the move and more about Scott Lissa from Nanaimo, who's just a wonderful agent. So if you are looking to move to the island, we highly recommend him. He's just fantastic at what he does. And just be willing to do something different and be different. When you make a major move of any kind, whether it's moving location, changing jobs, going into a new relationship, you should expect to be profoundly affected by that. You might discover aspects of yourself that you didn't even know were there. For example, I discovered that being in a relationship with somebody where I feel utterly and completely accepted has allowed up aspects of my personality that never got free rein. I get to be as silly as I want to be. I get to be as soft and gentle and feminine as I want to be. And yet I'm with a man who totally celebrates me running my corporation, supporting his as well, and bringing all aspects of me out to play. So there's been a real evolution in discovering dimensions of myself I didn't know were there. My career has shifted a number of times. Things that I used to always do dropped away as it no longer felt appropriate, wasn't part of the person I was becoming or the way I felt compelled to serve my clients. And now we're moving to a totally different location. And we know it's not about, we have to remember this when we're looking to achieve our goals. It's not about looking for perfection. It's not about looking for a place that lets you hide from your circumstances. It's about trusting your path. And if you're listening, your path is going to take you where you're supposed to be. And it may have its own challenges, but that's your path, so you'll keep growing. And what we're excited about is we're moving into community where we get to serve, just as we've served here in Kelowna. We get to serve in another community. There's ways that we like to volunteer. There's ways we serve our clients. And what we love about Nanaimo is Nanaimo, but it is more for us. It's more in the sense that it's such a connected city. We can hop onto the Hullo ferry and we're in downtown Vancouver in no time. We can take a ferry to Seattle. We can go to Victoria. We have all these major cities around where we can connect with the culture, the people, and go to concerts, go to conferences. There's so much opportunity for growth, and yet we're going to have a house on the edge of the forest where I can get up every morning, go hiking and see wild animals and walk down to the ocean. There's a lot to recommend for us. But like any big city, it's got its challenges too, and we're looking for ways that we can serve the community. I'm excited that I'm going to have an office in the Men's Center at the Heritage Muse, and the Men's Center serves their community because men come in for counseling, for support in terms of getting the work that they want, and I'm going to have an office there, and a lot of my clients are men. So I'm going to have a lovely little quiet office where people can come very conveniently and see me, and I can work with them. Some people might prefer I come to their homes, and of course I'm going to continue to serve my broader community by Zoom. And occasionally we'll come back to Kelowna, and I can continue to connect with folks here too. So what we've done by going for a bigger goal is created more flexibility in our lives, created a broader experience, and expanded ourselves, our opportunity to learn, our opportunities to give. So when you think about your goals, think about that thing that takes you way outside your comfort zone. Maybe you're moving to a community where you know nobody. See that as an opportunity. See that as I'm going to meet new people, and expect that you're making new friends. One thing I'm blown away about is all the helpers we're meeting along the way. People who are welcoming me into their building to have an office there. The people I met at the fair this past weekend who welcomed me with open arms and said, we're thrilled you're coming to the island. You're going to love it here, which just boosted our joy about it even more. So when you go to make a big move, even if it's scary, expect that if you're walking your path, if it's aligned with Source, the universe is going to provide support. People are going to show up who are going to help you, who are going to welcome you, but you have to be open to receiving that. And that's part of the vulnerability of making a big change. Not going into it with your armor on, going, I'm going to somehow make this work, but going in open, soft, vulnerable, being willing to ask for help, being willing to ask for support. It's funny because when we were looking at the island and looking at possibilities, we started watching Scott Lista's Nanaimo videos. And what I love about his videos is he's not just going, hey, I'm trying to sell you a place to live. He's doing videos about the culture there, about the hiking trails, about all the advantages of living on the island. He really wooed us. And we liked his videos. We liked him so much that when we went to the island over the holidays, we thought, well, let's just meet this guy and let's just get a feel. We weren't sure if that was going to be our location, but we were curious. So we met in Ladysmith at the Old Town Bakery over, their wonderful baked goods they make. amazing cinnamon rolls and Nanaimo bars. And we hit it off. We really enjoyed his company and enjoyed what he had to say, and we didn't feel any pressure from him. So when we did make the decision, like, let's get serious about looking at this, of course, we called him up. So part of what we have to do sometimes is let go of our cynicism. And the cynicism isn't always about other people and not trusting them. It's not trusting ourselves, not trusting our ability to roll with something new. So I always say, if there's fear, if there's resistance, acknowledge it. But if your sense is, this is the direction I need to go, just go, okay, this is scary, and now I'm going to do it. Even if all you do is take the first step and you start to explore, what am I drawn to? Really then go in depth on it. What's moving me? We fell in love with Ladysmith, but then we started looking at Nanaimo, and we saw this neighborhood that we really loved, and we saw so many advantages to being in the city, and it just clicked for us. So sometimes you'll end up somewhere that's not where you first thought you'd be. You might be looking at a particular goal and saying, this is what I want to achieve. And as you gain more information, your goal might shift. So don't get so rigid in your goal that you go, well, this is it, and I've got to force this to work, when you're getting information about shifting that focus. We love Ladysmith. We love all the quaint little shops there. But that's a place we're going to visit often. It didn't come across as that's where our next home is meant to be. So it's looking at it from that perspective. Move in a certain direction, but be willing to have new information shift your perspective. There's nothing wrong with, as you're gaining information, broadening your scope. It's like saying to the universe, I want to go in this direction, but I realize my limited ego consciousness might not have the whole story. So I'm open to being shown something I might not have thought about. And that's the same in relationships, in career. If you have too rigid a perspective on what you think you want, you might miss what you're actually meant to have. Your next partner might be somebody who looks nothing like what you've looked for in the past, what qualities you've wanted, what appearances have appealed to you. That person might show up that you go, wow, they're so unique. This is refreshing. This is also challenging. This person challenges me to be more than I've ever been before, to show up more than I ever have before. And that's something I want to say about a relationship. A lot of times when it's the right person, the challenge is for you to take down your protective walls and offer all of who you are. And that level of vulnerability, that depth of intimacy, is what keeps a lot of people from moving towards somebody who could rock their world and change their life. We say we want change, but when we're presented with a big change, maybe it's a big leap up in your career or completely shifting to a different career. A lot of my clients come to me because they're ready to transition to a completely different career. The thing that hits us is, oh, something's going to be expected of me I've never had to put out there. I'm going to have to show up in a way I've never had to do. And that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. It's going to shock you out of any laziness or ennui about moving forward. And you're either going to be, I'm up for that challenge, or you're going to pull away and you're going to make your life smaller. And you're going to move away from those goals that could give you a life that you could never imagine from where you are today. You know, I had a great life here before I met my husband. I had a nice little carriage house with amazing landlord and landlady who just treated me like gold. I had a garden, I had a place to plug in my motorcycle. I loved my office, I loved my time here. And then he came into my life, and all of a sudden we moved to this lovely tower with amazing view. We out on the motorcycles, but we're also boating, and we go to theater and dinner, and we just have this full life and we both run our own businesses and we both love to work and play together. And my world expanded dramatically as a result. And now we're making another big shift, all in less than 2 years. So allow adventure to show up in your life, whatever adventure means to you. Allow change to change you. Allow yourself to step into what scares you. Because on the other side of it, you're going to discover that it was a paper tiger all along. And you're going to discover things about yourself you never got to see. You're, in a sense, going through a death rebirth, death to the limitations you placed on yourself, and a birth into a life where you get to be more, you get to have more, you get to do more, because you let yourself grow. It's just like when you take a lovely little plant in a little pot. At some point, you got to put it in a bigger pot if it's going to expand. What's the bigger pot you need to step into? What's the bigger life you need to have? And there's going to be some discomfort there. Go with it. It's just like when you first start working out, your muscles are sore and your body's saying, what on earth did we start doing this for? But if you keep doing it, you start to feel the benefits and it starts to become your norm. So remember that whenever you step into something new, it's going to feel strange. It's going to feel awkward in some ways. It might be scary. Eventually, it's going to be your norm. And the person you're going to be will be so different from the person you were a decade ago. You'll think back and go, how could I ever at that time not have seen the great life I was going to end up in? Well, that person couldn't have imagined it. But that's the key. Let your imagination take you somewhere new. Don't let your limiting beliefs hold you back from the life you were always meant to have. And if you're finding you're dealing with challenges, maybe you don't know what your next step is. Maybe you don't know what traits, what qualities, what potentials live inside of you that are waiting to come out and be part of your life. And that's where I come in. I can tap into your subconscious. I can help you find that potential, develop it, bring it out, and live that expanded life. So, you know how to reach me. You're going to see my new website at the end of this video. I have rebranded because I'm not working out of Kelowna anymore. I'm going to be, spreading my wings and working at a broader scale. I've always worked internationally, but now that's going to be clear by my branding. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, whether it's in person or online. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'm so looking forward to helping you live the life that you were always meant to have from the day you landed on Earth. Let's get you back to your original self and your original path. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.